Good morning, buenos dias, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information, and inspiration. My name is Tim Versteeg, my pronouns are he, him, and it is my great pleasure to serve this congregation as the Director of Lifespan Religious Education. Our faith is all-inclusive and all means all. We strive to enact a universal love that binds us in mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice for our planet and all its people. We recognize that San Antonio is located on the homeland of the Cowawitukan people, Yanaguana. 200 tribes, bands, and clans are documented in historical records dating back 8,000 years. Their descendants are the knowledge keepers of this area, and including them in decisions about this land and its people will benefit us all. If you're new to us or visiting for the first time today, we welcome you and ask you if you'd like to fill out a visitor's card that are located in the backs of the pews. We'd like to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you'll find a place with us. And in case you're wondering, the last couple of pews are roped off before the service for anyone who needs a seat quickly. This morning is a fully multi-generational service, and it's a joy to be here together, mixing all ages in our worship. And during the service today, there's going to be a few things that are a little different. It's okay. So we will be creating a mural at the back at an art station at the back of the sanctuary. Now, a couple of years ago, Algonquin elder Albert Dumont, who was the poet laureate of Ottawa at the time, spoke to those gathered for the Canadian Unitarian Council's conference and annual meeting. And he told the story about a lake he liked to canoe in, and a small island, probably half the size of this stage, where there were a number of trees. Now, these trees should not have been there. It was basically a rock in the middle of a lake. Very little soil. Windy conditions. If you've ever been to Ottawa, you probably haven't been there in the winter, but it's cold and it's windy, and it's, after Moscow, apparently the place that diplomats least like to go in the world. So he told this story about these trees, and he said, on their own, none of these trees would have been able to survive on this island. But because their roots interconnected and held themselves together and held around the rocks, all these trees survived and thrived. And he saw that as a metaphor for community. So when you are drawing your trees today, pay attention to the roots. And you can draw the trees at any time in the service. You can get up, so there's going to be some movement. Again, this is one of these things I don't want you to freak out about. It's okay. People will be getting up and getting down. It's okay. And I just ask you to let that be a part of our time together today. Now, having said that, when you're drawing your tree, please try to be as respectful of your fellow congregants as possible, whose focus hopefully will be on what's going on up here. Each Sunday, we do greet one another so that we might know who is journeying with us. This morning, I'd like you to break from what might be your habitual patterns of greeting. And by saying this, I want you to greet people you have not met and take a moment to really connect with them. Ask their name and do your best to remember it. So please take a few minutes to turn to one another and greet your travel companions this morning. Okay, does everyone remember the name of the people they just met? Yes. All right, so when I count to 3, I'd like everyone just to say the name of those new connections aloud. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Our opening words are bring your whole self. Come into this circle of community, come into this sacred space and bring your whole self. Bring the joy that makes your heart sing. Bring your kindness and compassion. Bring also your sadness and your disappointments. Spirit of love and mystery, help us to recognize the spark of divine that lives inside each of us. May we know the joy of being together. This morning, I'd like to invite Rebecca and Francisco Murillo and their children, Hugo and Lyra, to light our chalice. The flaming chalice unites our members in worship and symbolizes the spirit of our faith. We light this chalice to rekindle the flame of truth. We light this chalice to replenish our spirit of love. We light this chalice to rededicate our energy of action. Thank you, chalice lighters. Our opening hymn is Sing and Rejoice. We're going to do it in 2 parts, not 4. And Stephen will be leading one side, and I guess Patty will be leading the other side.
Yes, we're going to sing it all together one time, and then twice as a round following us. All together.
We are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where all are welcomed as blessings. Let's recite our covenant that articulates our promises and binds us together. Please read together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. Su sacramento es la búsqueda de la verdad. Y su oración es el servicio. Convivir en paz, buscar sabiduría en libertad, dar a la humanidad nuestro servicio fraternal, para que todas las almas crezcan en armonía con la divinidad. Así pactamos el uno con el otro. Thanks.
Good morning. I'm Kalani Kachela. Pronouns are he, him, and his. Have you ever skipped a stone across water? Today, yes? Of course you have. Well, today we invite you to drop a stone into our vessel, not to see it jump, but to watch it sink. As you hold your stone, feel its weight. This small rock carries your intentions, prayers, and deepest reflections. When you release it, observe how it breaks the water's surface, creating ripples that extend far beyond the point of entry, just as our thoughts and prayers reach beyond ourselves. In this moment of letting go, embrace the sacred pause. Your stone's journey symbolizes your own, descending into depths of meaning, settling into a place of peace. I invite you now to come and be a part of our communal ritual. We have several words in our community book of life that I will try to condense a few of them. Today's flowers are provided by the Lopez family in celebration of Kiara Lopez's 15th birthday. Happy birthday. Lito and Ruth write that we are so sad that our beloved dog, Indy, crossed the Rainbow Bridge on Friday. He was 15 and a half years old and had only smiles of love and was the very best boy. Our condolences to you. We applied for a $50,000 grant and got an interview, so please send us luck. There's an announcement to encourage everyone to check out their Social Security benefits and be aware of the changes going on in the Social Security Administration. Linda Young is looking to buy a cheap old car. And happy birthday, Catherine Purz. Happy birthday, Catherine. There are two expressions of gratitude for yesterday's trans visibility rally from Maggie Joseph and from Jody Iglesias, saying that they had a great turnout and a strong representation from the congregation. And please notify Jessica Latimer if you know of anyone who hasn't been at church in a while and they need to be contacted. And finally, Connie Reyes would like good wishes for her health. I invite you now to find your breath and your center. Relax and let the weight of your life roll off of your shoulders. Join me in a moment of meditation. God of many names and mystery beyond all names, in the tapestry of life, we are all woven together, distinct threads creating a whole more beautiful than any single strand could be alone. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm that family extends beyond blood relations to encompass the chosen connections that sustain our spirits. Family is where we find ourselves reflected in loving eyes. It is where we are held in both our brilliance and our brokenness. When the world outside feels too sharp, too loud, or too indifferent, it is within our circles of belonging that we find sanctuary. For those navigating the foggy landscapes of mental health challenges, know that your journey is honored here. When financial worries cast long shadows, remember that your worth transcends any banking account. When relationships fracture or transform, leaving us disoriented, our community remains steady ground beneath uncertain feet. Those facing housing insecurity or homelessness, we see you, your dignity undiminished by circumstances. And to those whose body carry the weight of illness or chronic conditions, your presence among us is a gift, not a burden. In our imperfect, beautiful community, we recognize that belonging is not about fitting in, but about being embraced exactly as you are. For we are not meant to journey alone. In this interdependence, web of existence, we hold space for one another's wholeness, celebrating joys, sharing sorrows, and finding our way home together. We ask this and the meditations of our hearts into the silence. We ask this in the name of all sentient beings. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
Hello, I'm Vanessa. Thank you. All right, and I want to preface this with I am a chronic pain girly, and my pain has progressed since this morning. So if I start to slur, it is not because I had fun, it is because I'm in pain. So, if you don't know me, I'm Vanessa, and my husband is back there making a tree. And my two children, Lucas and Jesse, are in the crowd. I'm here with your weekly stewardship testimony. So here we go. I went to numerous churches when I was a kid, as my family tried to figure out where we could get community and practice our beliefs. And I remember my parents tithing. Now, we didn't have much money, so growing up, in my head, giving money to the church was wild. And at most of the churches we went to, I didn't see the point. For a while, we went to a very large church that's still here in San Antonio that did things like have a huge live band and have someone flying through the auditorium as Jesus. I think that's what was happening. I was a kid, so I was just there for the spectacle and the music. I'm sure that church is still doing stuff like that, but I didn't really see why they needed our money. Then when I became a teenager, we went to another church that I also think still exists in San Antonio, and it was one of the few black churches that were close to where we lived. My parents, again, would tithe, and I knew they did it because it was always this like big white envelope that you had to hand into the basket. That's how you knew it wasn't just an offering. Sometimes they would also make us do offerings with our allowance, and I did not appreciate that at all. But this church was different. Yes, I do think the pastor was kind of living large with our money. But when my parents fell on hard times, this church gave my parents money to help sustain us. When my parents went through a difficult time in their marriage, this church counseled them. As a teenager, they had numerous activities for us to do, such as going to the women's shelter to volunteer. Sometimes they also had hangouts for us, which I hated because I'm an introvert and just wanted to read a book. They also gave out scholarships, which I distinctly remember my brother and my cousin getting to help get them started after graduating high school. As a teenager, while I didn't like the church, and I didn't really like what they were saying, it felt different when my parents gave their money to this church. Now, as an adult, I'm faced with the same thing when it comes to the stewardship of our community. I've also adopted the stance as I've gotten older of if I take something, I should give back a little. And I take a lot from this church. I take a safe space for my children, a community of welcoming parents who are honest about the trenches of parenthood, and a group of people outside of my parent group that make me feel like the world isn't actually on fire, like we can do something about it, and that calms my heart. So in return, I give my time, and now I give my money. We give what we can. We don't have all the money in the world, but we do our best. And I believe most of us here in our community are doing the same. So I'm not gonna stand up here and tell you $5 a day is gonna save or sustain this community, You know we have bills. So I will say, if you take anything from this community, such as safety, understanding, a place for peace, then think about what you can give back as well. It could be money, but it could also be time. I'd love to see a wider range of people guiding our children. Yes, this is a selfish plug for people to sign up for RE for the youth. But if you don't have time or money, because I know those things are scarce, your presence helps too. Meeting people and continuing to feel like the world isn't on fire is an important part of this community as well. So it's not the most eloquent way of saying it, but give what you can in any capacity, but remember to take what you need as well. Thank you.
Okay, it's time for the kids to come up for the story. One of my favorites today. Naked mole rat gets dressed. Naked mole rat, yeah. Hopefully, yep, there we go. There is so much to learn about the fascinating little creatures known as naked mole rats. But for this story, you need to only know 3 things. 1, they're a little bit rat. 2, they are a little bit mole. 3, they are all naked. Well, they were, with one exception. Wilbur, the naked mole rat who liked to get dressed. Hello. When the other naked mole rats saw him, they said, "Ew, yuck, what are you doing?" "I like clothes," replied Wilbur. "When I get dressed, I can be fancy, or funny, or cool, or I can just be an astronaut." When the others heard that, they said, "Ew, yuck, if you like clothes so much, then why don't you open a store or something?" Naked mole rats can be very sarcastic. But Wilbur thought that was a great idea. The other naked mole rats did not. They brought Wilbur to a giant portrait of Grandpa, the oldest, greatest, and most naked mole rat ever. "Look at that picture," they demanded. "Look at his heroic face. Look at his regal bearing. Look at his total lack of clothing." Grandpa did look heroic. Grandpa did look regal, but he would also look heroic and regal in a casual shirt and some summer slacks. "Ugh," said the other naked mole rats, "don't you get it? Naked mole rats don't wear clothes."
Because they're naked. Actually, they can't.
"Why not?" "Why not?" asked Wilbur. Something had to be done. The naked mole rats marched right over to Grandpa and told him all about Wilbur. And then he asked, "Why not?" Grandpa was very wise. He thought seriously about everything he had heard. Then he thought some more. Finally, he said in a heroic, regal voice, "Gather the colony, I shall make a proclamation." And when Wilbur heard about Grandpa's proclamation, he knew it was serious, and they all ran out saying, "A proclamation, proclamation, proclamation." But he had no idea what to wear. So in the end, Wilbur decided to play it safe. Maybe not safe enough. The others were so busy looking at Wilbur's socks that no one noticed Grandpa enter until he cleared his throat and proclaimed, Fellow naked mole rats, I had never worn clothes until I heard Wilbur's simple question. Why not? Why not indeed? Do clothes hurt anyone? No. Are they fun? Well, they may not be for everyone, but this old naked mole rat wishes he had tried getting dressed earlier. Then Grandpa complimented Wilbur on his socks. As fast as his legs could take him, Wilbur rushed home, put on his favorite outfit, and dashed back. And when he returned, Wilbur discovered he was not alone. And much has been said about that day, but for this story, need to only know 3 things. Some of the mole rats were naked, some of the mole rats were clothed, and all of the mole rats had a great time. No exceptions. And then Wilbur opened his clothing store. Now, we don't have playground time today because we're all in here together, but don't forget to get your family to go and make a tree at the back. Your family tree.
Good morning. We're the Edge and Harrington family. My name is Rebecca. This is my husband Blake, Elora, Merrick, and River.
Grateful for our creatures from A to Z.
We give thanks for the earth and its creatures and are grateful from A to Z.
For alligators, apricots, acorns, and apple trees.
For bumblebees, bananas, blueberries, and beagles.
And baboons. Coconuts, crawdads, cornfields, and coffee.
Daisies, elephants, and flying fish.
For groundhogs, glaciers, and grasslands.
Hippos and hazelnuts, icicles and iguanas.
For juniper, jackrabbits, and June bugs.
Kudzu and kangaroos, lightning bugs, and licorice.
For mountains and milkweed and mistletoe.
Narwhals and nasturtiums, otters and ocelots.
For peonies and persimmons and polar bears.
Quahogs and Queen Anne's lace.
For raspberries and roses.
Salmon and sassafras, tornadoes, and tulip wood.
Urchins and valleys and waterfalls.
Yaks and yams and yogurt.
We are grateful, good earth, not least of all.
For zinnias, zucchini, and zebras.
And for all the alphabet of wonderful things that are simple as A, B, C.
By Gary Kowalski.
Thank you. In 2017, Kimberly Sweeney, at the time the lead for faith formation and safe congregations on the UUA's New England regional staff team, wrote a groundbreaking report titled The Death of Sunday School and the Future of Faith Formation. In it, Sweeney provides an explicit analysis of the pressures, challenges, and realities of UU religious education programs in the 21st century, and posits a number of ways forward in our congregations as they face uncertain and unknown territory. Our living faith does continue to evolve. Early in the report, Sweeney describes some factors relevant to this discussion. 1, as stewards of our Unitarian Universalist faith, it is our responsibility to adapt our approaches to faith formation to these contemporary times. 2, finding a different religious educator is not the key. I want you to remember that one. 3, increasing staffing to minister to specific subsets of young people maintains age segregation. 4, as baby boomers move into retirement and Gen X moves into leadership and lay positions, the size of the volunteer pool is cut nearly in half. 5, a curriculum will not save the day. And 6, Adults need just as much faith formation as children and youth. All of these factors point to a fundamental need to change ways things have been done in our churches for decades, to reconsider and adapt the old model of Sunday school and the expectations surrounding levels of volunteerism and attendance, and find ways to meet people where they are, whatever ages they may be. And let me say that our church has not only embarked on this journey, but continues to adapt and adopt programs and practices for new realities. The use of soul matters in our Sunday morning programs for children, youth, and some adult groups is one indication. And while the lesson plans are based on a monthly theme, they're not cumulative. So if a participant is only able to attend 1 or 2 Sundays a month, they're not at a disadvantage. We have a vibrant and growing small group ministry, which is another indicator that church and spiritual growth is not something that happens just on Sundays at this church. Weekly adult programs like the Readers Group, the Seekers, the Young Adults, and the Parents Group all show a commitment to lifelong learning and spiritual transformation, which is crucial to faith formation. But the growing edge of this evolution, and one which I am deeply committed to as a religious educator and have deep convictions about as a human being, is the model of multi-generational church. In our story this morning, Grandpa listened to Wilbur and was willing to change his mind and way of doing things. Learning from each other, whatever our ages, and building on relationships that are not narrowly defined by age ranges is one way we can create equity in our system. Now let me be clear. Affinity groups, whether you call them a caucus or a peer group, will always have a place in our churches. Part of what Reverend Dr. Paula Cole-Jones calls our community of communities. These groups, based on shared interests, causes, ages, races, or genders, are important parts of church lives and ways to connect and belong. And these kinds of groups allow for our whole selves to be expressed fully and authentically among those who best understand us because of common experiences, identities, or histories. However, for me, where a church community really sings, to use a metaphor from one such of these groups, the choir, whose common experience is a joy of music, is at those times when we gather together in groups that are made up of all types of people who have different markers of identity and are willing to build bridges between those differences. And the rationale for this approach is obvious when you consider a few factors. Church is one of the few institutions in our society where the gathering and contact between generations regularly occurs. Often families live long distances from older generations, meaning the help and support once provided by grandparents is not necessarily available and nearby. If we couple this with studies which show that healthy mental and social development of children is greatly enhanced and broadened by knowing 6 trusted adults in their lives to whom they are not related, it's another benefit of the approach. And this is a two-way street, by the way. As we get older, our isolation and potential loneliness has grown in North American society, as Robert D. Putnam's study, Bowling Alone, first pointed towards when it was published in 2000. While some might argue that the rise of the internet and social media platforms such as Zoom have created tools to counter this, they're not an alternative for personal interaction. We are still, at our core, social primates. So for the elders in our congregation, church and interactions with children and youth provide a way to be seen and to ease their own loneliness. On a personal note, I do find a kind of magic in this. When my son Simon was 8 or 9, he was obsessed with playing chess. And I fondly remember him playing chess at a games night with Roy an 85-year-old congregant in my last church. Then, when we needed to move our games night online during COVID, I would ask participants to call on the next person when it was time to take their turn. And seeing Jaime, who was a 5-year-old member's son, call on people decades older than him by name, spoke to the kinds of connections we were building. For those open to these insights, children also have an incredible capacity to teach us, whatever age we are. One of our current UU values is transformation, something that requires an openness and a willingness to be changed by new ideas and experiences, and I would argue from sometimes unexpected sources. Sometimes our mentors for growth can be decades younger than we are. So, we've considered the benefits of multi-generational connections for the young and for our elders. What about those caught in the middle? Age is a continuum, and the connections between us are always closer than we may think. For parents, apart from the benefits of the children, for their children that I've already talked about, connecting with this wider denomination is a gift. Experiences of older congregants who may have things in their past about the struggles of parenthood they can share can be a source of wisdom and support. Parents, more than the church and more than the religious education program, are the primary sources of their children's faith development. The church has an opportunity to influence that development a few hours each Sunday. Parents carry that responsibility 24/7. By providing resources and support for them, we can create our legacy and our future. The social changes right now in the world are accelerating at an unprecedented pace. And traditional definitions, though I would put the word traditional under erasure, because I don't like that word, the traditional definitions of family, like gender, are more fluid than in the past. Part of the mission of this church is to be a sanctuary for the fluidity of identities that we each have, celebrating the uniqueness of everyone who joins us here. In a nation and world that seems to be intent right now on silencing and erasing differences, it is more important than ever that we welcome each new person and help them gain a sense of belonging. As I finish, I want to leave you with some concrete things we can do to continue to build this multi-generational congregation of belonging for all ages. The first thing you already started doing: learn the names of people who are not in your generation, who aren't born in the same decade you were. Do you remember the names of the people you met this morning? When I count to 3, say the name out loud again. 1, 2, 3. A second way is to use a lens of intergenerational inclusion when you make plans for events for the whole church. Ask what ways your next event can be inclusive and accessible to all ages and needs. And this isn't just as simple as adding childcare, though that's a good start. But asking yourselves what way we can learn, worship, and serve together, no matter who we are. And finally, there are 3 opportunities to sign up for roles at the back of the church today, which I would encourage you to be a part of. The first is to be one of the weekly chalice lighters, just as the Murillo family were this morning. The sign-up sheets for Sunday until the summer is at the back, and I'll leave it on the table by the activity card in the foyer for the next few weeks. The second generation, and Vanessa already touched on this one, is to be a volunteer with our RE programs. There's a simple screening process that needs to be done online, and there will be a formal teacher training in August. But in the meantime, sign up, we'll get you screened, and ask yourself, what passions do you have for art or history, or spirituality or music that you'd like to share with children and youth? Or would you just like to help out with our regular curriculum? Sign up and discover another way of experiencing the ministry of our community. And finally, some of you may have noticed the post boxes at the back of the church today. Today, we are relaunching our Mystery Pals program. Yay. Now, for anyone who hasn't been a part of this program before, it's a fun program when you write letters to other congregants from other generations for a number of weeks. And once the exchange is done, we'll gather together for a reception after church, and you'll get to meet your mystery pals in person. This year, we're going to send letters from one household to another. So whatever your tree is your group, okay? Because this keeps everybody safe, and it also allows families of whatever shape and size to collaborate on their messages. To be a whole church is to be a multi-generational community where everyone worships, learns, and plays together, at least for some of the time. Let it be so.
I want to thank Tim for the great service today, and all those who spoke, and all those who have played, and those who are getting ready to play. So let's show them some love for all this beautiful ministry. The staff has been working pretty hard behind the scenes to collaborate on services, and Tim and I have covenanted to do at least 10 multi-gen services a year. So this is just the beginning of more goodness to come. You can clap. It is now time for our offering. I would invite the ushers to come forward to receive this morning's offering and for us to hear this beautiful music that has been assembled for us.
I'm going to welcome. Thank you. So I'm really pleased to have our group up here this morning, and we've got a couple of guests up here, Elaine from Louisiana, who I've known for about 30 years through UU, and my granddaughter Sophia, and some other wonderful folks here.
See a B-grade movie, he graded my
solace in a bottle, or possibly a friend. And I woke up with a headache like my head against a board, twice as cloudy as I'd been the night before, and I went in seeking clarity. And I went to the doctor, I went to the mountains, I looked to the children, I drank from the fountains. Yeah, we go to the doctor, we go to the mountains, we look to the children, we drink from the fountains. Yeah, we go to the Bible, we go through the workout, we read up on revival, we stand up for the lookout. There's more than one answer to these questions, pointed me in a crooked line. And the less I seek my source for some definitives, closer I am to find. Closer I am to find. Closer I am to find. Yeah. Thank you. Let's stay up here. Stay up here. We got another song.
I thought you were going to do an encore for a moment. That's so great. We give thanks for all of your gifts of time, talent, and treasures that make this the beloved community that we aspire to be. And now, we will join together, rise in body and or spirit, as we sing our closing hymn, number 1024, When the Spirit Says Do.
Got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says
closing words to mark the Transgender Day of Visibility are from Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. Dear trans, non-binary, genderqueer, and gender-expansive friends and kin, and those of us whose gender is survival. You are not hard to love and respect. Your existence is a blessing. Your pronouns are not a burden or trial. They are part of your name, just shorter. Some of our kin use only their names where pronouns would be. The names they are called, remember that someone getting them wrong is not a poor reflection on you. It is not your fault. Your body really and truly belongs to you, no one else. The stories of your body, the names of your body's parts, your body's privacy, the sum of your body's glory. It is not okay for anyone to press their story of you back to the beginning of our liberation. We will find the people ready to be on the freedom for the people way. We will go on, no one can rename you. Other, it can't stick as you offer the gift of being and saying who you are. Mostly though, your stories belong to you. Your joy and complexity are beautiful. However you may choose to tell it or not tell it, some folks, cis, may take their liberty for an unholy license. You are beloved. Please keep to our shared tasks of healing, getting free. So may it be.